Hello all, and welcome to this Friday evening's beer review, which I'm going to dub the third storm's kind of a bust, thankfully. So it's not raining too hard, and the sun's actually kind of come up a little bit. So not worried about losing my power, not worried about flooding. There's some other things going on too, but like me trying to clean up my room again for the umpty millionth time, I have difficulty with it. Um, I have hoarder tendencies, so I actively try to fight it. It makes things difficult because I always end up just moving things back and forth rather than throwing them out like I should. And yeah. Anyways, what is it that we're reviewing today? Looking through my records on YouTube, I've discovered that I haven't reviewed a whole bunch of beers from Aloha Beer Company, which is, a local brewery that puts out a lot of canned beers that reach to the supermarkets and liquor stores. And I don't know why I kind of overlooked it because I've reviewed a lot more obscure things. So I'm going to go and start reviewing those things that I've missed in my queue. And we're going to start with Hiker's Dream. This is an unfiltered IPA. So, yeah, 6.3 ABV. Unfiltered IPA. So I've seen it classified as a hazy IPA from my pre-tasting. I don't really consider it that much of such. Gives me much more of another feel, as we'll see here. Not sure of the canning date on this one, but it didn't seem old, at least. So without much further ado, let's just go and pour this one out. Excuse me, I'm exhausted. I slept just really crappy last night for whatever reason. Um, so yeah, I'm not exactly sure why. And I can't seem to nap either, so my mind is a little bit scattered. Beer's probably not going to help, though. But looking forward to a nice, good beer. So, nice 3 fingers of head. It is hazy, but not particularly so. Sort of a hazy golden orange color, nicely carbonated, with a thick off-white head. Definitely got some grapefruit, some apricot, or in general, stone fruit. Yeah, but more specifically, apricot. Touches of ozone and dank. Yeah, it's pretty pleasant. Not really any tropical notes to it. Citrus zest, grapefruit, apricot, but no real tropical notes. No mango, no passion fruit. And you also get a sense of the underlying malts, too, which in this case would be bready. Sweet smelling. Onto the palate now. Fairly bitter on the initial tasting. Mm. Interesting contrast. In the long finish, there is a subtle but lasting hot bitterness there. Not too tannic, but just ever so slightly astringent. While the top note in the long finish is of the malts. In the front to mids, you got that hot bitterness. slightly piney. That stone fruit shows up there. And also a nice maltiness as well in the mids. Before on the palate, in the finish, hop bitterness takes over and lasts. You're just left with that maltiness in the nose there. In the top note there, I should say. Well, it doesn't really have an earthy feel to it. A sort of restrained bitterness and, you know, malt character. As well as the fact it doesn't seem, the hopping doesn't seem particularly bright, either on the nose or on the palate. Makes this almost kind of come across as a bit old world, a bit English. Now it's much more sharply bitter. It has much more of that pine resin kind of grapefruit and sharpness to the hopping, but that malt presence there, that sort of dark note to it, definitely gives it more of that sort of English IPA feel than, I would say, West Coast style, much less hazy style. Pretty well balanced, I would say. Doesn't get too out of whack. The only thing really against it, kind of thin on the palate, slightly astringent in the finish. That might just be me though, with my thing about IPAs. It's enjoyable. It's not knocking my socks off, but um, yeah, give this a shot. Uh, if you're in Hawaii, I think they sell this at ABC stores, which it makes it even more funny that I haven't reviewed this yet. When they still had Three Peaks in Kailua, I definitely reviewed a lot more of their beers. They do put out like limited releases. Since I don't actually make it to any brew pubs, I don't get to try or review them anymore, but they do exist. And they were pretty interesting. For their canning line, pretty bog standard type beers, but like I said, enjoyable type beers. Let's see here. Got to read the back here, but I'm not seeing any special text. Hawaii kind of is a hiker's dream. I should do it a little bit more, for my health, which is abysmal. And yeah, that is your beer review for tonight, folks. Cheers.